The measure we use to measure, God used to give us 1,000 folds of that. Welcome back to TM Space. So this is another episode of Bible Gist.
It's gonna happen. Don't really know when. Just know that it's with you. That's making me nervous. 'Cause I'm thinking you noticed. Let me know.
So today's Bible Gist is going to be about giving. Giving in the church of God, giving in God's kingdom. What do we think about giving? A lot of people used to be like, churches are ripping them off, churches are billing them, pastors are billing them. Yeah, I can't denote that fact because some churches do that, but either they ask you for money, they ask you for contribution or not. I feel like as Christians, it is our duty because we are giving in to the growth of the church of God. I build the church or they don't. It's none of our business. Our business is with God. He said we should bring all of our offerings to the house of God. So what the well, how will I put it? The people in charge of what you bring to the church, what they use it for, I don't think it's our business. In my home church, every time we are doing anniversary, I think is it annual anniversary or something, each person is asked to bring okay, I think each household is told what they will bring. Some rice, some, it's like an harvest. Yes, harvest. So later, because we used to be like, when we were still young, we used to be like criticizing these things, but later, I think last year, we got to know that these food items that we take to church is actually shared to other pastors' wife in other churches, because a lot of churches are invited for that program. So we got to know that these food items are being shared to other pastors' wives, and in short, most of these things are shared. And in my mind, I'm like, and we've been so judgmental. We've been criticizing these things for years. So I feel like whatever it is we are bringing to the house of God should not be like how they use it should not be our problem. Your tithe, your offering, it is not. I think if you have a mindset that, oh, I'm taking this thing to God and not I'm taking it to my pastor, the way we think about it is going to change eventually. So I'm going to be reading like few verse in the Bible that talks about giving. The first one is Luke chapter, it's a popular one, Luke chapter 6 verse 38. The reason why I love this one is because it makes it clear the blessing that is attached to your offering, the blessing that is attached to your giving. So it says, give and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaking together and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Have you heard the saying that it's not like a saying itself, it's like a testimony I heard. So this testimony, I've heard it over and over again from a couple of people, not one person, about how they pay, is it times 10 of their tithes, of the tithe of their salary. And some will say they paid everything, all of their salary. And the testimonies that used to come after this sacrifice is just mind-blowing. So the Bible makes it clear, and the Bible is true. The word of God is true. Everything you see in the word of God is true. It said the measure you use, like it's just like you use a paint container to measure rice. To me, if I want to repay what you did, I can use that same paint to measure. Okay, maybe when you are in need and I feel like, okay, I have this time around, I can use that same paint container to measure rice and give to you. That is what the Bible is saying. And I even feel like the measure we used to measure, God used to give us times in 1,000 folds of that. I don't think the measure we used to measure is what God gives us back. So he said he's going to, because he even said it, that he's going to give us back in a good measure. He will press it down. He will shake it together. It's just like you are buying yam flour. The way they used to sell it, they'll just do like this, But if they press it down, shake it again, press it again, pour another one, press it down. By the time you remeasure that yam flour, when you get them, you realize that you have like 4 times 4 of that container inside. So this is like what this Bible verse is saying. So I feel like whatever it is we are giving God, none of it is a waste. None is it like. And another point I'm going to make is most times we don't give our all because we don't trust God enough to take care of us. We don't surrender all because we are thinking, how am I going to cope this month if I drop this? How am I going to survive? How am I going to this? How am I going to that? And I feel like trusting God with everything is like, it's just going to blow your mind. That is the truth. It's going to blow your mind. I had a testimony early, I think last year, okay, about someone that gave their all as a first fruit. Do you get? So that testimony like gingered me to like okay, I've been hearing people every year after year bringing their first fruits, but most of the times I used to either I don't even put it in mind, or I feel like I don't even know, I'm not a salary and how am I going to like do it or bring it together to make it my first fruits? Or most times I just feel like I pay tithes normally, but first fruits I don't just it's not just one of the things I put in my mind or in my head to do. So that testimony I was like, okay. And at that moment I didn't have a job per se, but I'm a baker, so I got a job. I got a contract. Is it a contract or like a cake job? And the whole of my profit for the cake job, I gave it to God as my first fruit. Do you get? I didn't remove a dime. At that moment, like I said, do you remember I said I don't have a job? I was like, is this not foolish? Thinking about it, in our human, what's it called? It is a foolish step, but in God's sight, it's like giving your all. And if God will be like, if this girl can give me give me a whole, then I should make a way. That period, my phone spoiled. Like I was using iPhone 13 Pro Max. It got blank all of a sudden. I woke up, my phone was. I started running helter skelter. Where am I going to get money? So eventually, I got more money I borrowed money to like repair the screen, and within that week, somebody we've lost touch, we just started talking, and that person gave me 300K. I changed my phone and I'm like, this God, like that period before that scene, I have went through like a lot of hardship, and I'm like doubting God that God, I gave you my everything. I did not have this money I sacrificed was like in hundreds, not just a small money. So I'm like, God, why would you be looking at me and I'll be suffering? After I gave you my whole, I started questioning everything. But I felt like God was just, sometimes when we give and we feel like, next minute, maybe this week, I'll see my miracle. No, it does not work that way. So, in short, a lot of provision. After then, I have never been stranded. So, I'm like, this thing, we don't just hear it, they happen. So if we can just trust God, that is like the foundation. Because not trusting God enough is why we cannot like not trusting God enough is why we cannot just give our all to Him. So another Bible verse I had in mind to like share with you guys is in Mark chapter 4, verse 3 to I think 8. It's the parable of the sower. So this parable or a story like this of the sower is also in Matthew. So it says, listen, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they had no roots. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants, so that they did not bear again. Still, other seed fell on good soil. It came up, grew, and produced a crop. Some multiplying 30, some 60, some 100. This is a parable. Remember, it's a parable. Parable like, it has a meaning, not directly the story. It has another meaning. So this is just like what me and my sister were discussing about one of our pastors back home that used to say, if you have a cup of beans at home, obviously, it cannot be enough. Even if only you cook it for yourself alone, it can't sustain you till the following morning. The best thing to do to this cup of beans or corn is to grow it, is to, plant it, and it will grow into thousands of seeds. So, holding on to your seed, it is called seed. It is your seed. See, however you want God to show up in your life is the amount of seed. And listen to me, it is not about the amount of seed you actually give. It is because now you might feel like, oh, I gave 1 million naira as a seed. I should be expecting plenty money from God. Do you get? Whereas you have 100 million naira in your account and you gave just one. Do you get? Somebody that gave 20k and the 20k is all the person has. No food, nothing, no hope from anywhere, and the person gave all the 20k to God. That person is going to see more. Well, I don't want to be the judge of that, but I feel like it is a thing of the heart. Like it is, I hope you understand. I know you get what I'm trying to say, but it is not about the amount you give. It is like where it is coming from and the faith, like your sacrifice. That is why it is called sacrifice. Giving your whole, sowing a seed. So this parable just explained everything. Like another meaning this parable has is know where to sow your seed. Know where to sow your seed. He said in this place that, in this verse, that some fell on rocky place, some fell on shallow soil. Know where to sow your seed. There are some places you sow your seed and you'll not see any results, but know where to sow your seed. Yeah, and I pray that God will lead us aright about these things. Another one that you should read on your own is in Matthew chapter 13, verse 24. No, Matthew chapter 13, verse, that same 3 to 8. So it's still talking about parable of the sower, almost the same story. So know where to sow your seed. Sometimes even pray before you sow your seed. Do you get? There are some men of God that you sow seed into their life, and your life will never remain the same. Because obviously we know not everybody is on this righteous path. Not everybody is actually serving God. So when you sow seed into people that are serving God with all their mind, like sometimes you might sow seed into an answer to somebody's answered prayer. Maybe a man of God, like, or somebody that has been praying, God, send me an helper, send me, and God lay it on your heart and you sow that seed into that person. You an answered prayer to the person, so definitely God sent you. Definitely everything is just going to work together for you also. So the point I'm trying to bring out, I hope you understand it. Yeah. So this is going to be the end of our Bible gist for the week. If you have watched to this moment and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on there's a bell that you can click on that will notify you anytime I post. Like, comment, and share also. And I'll see you in my next post. Bye.